Full name, Vladimir Vladimirovich Putin. Date of birth, October 7, 1952. Place of birth, Leningrad, Soviet Union, now St. Petersburg. Russia. Born, October 7, 1952. Place, Leningrad, Soviet Union, now St. Petersburg. Russia. Family, father, Vladimir Spiridonovich Putin, a factory foreman and World War II veteran. Mother, Maria Ivanovna Shelomova, a factory worker. The Putins lived in a communal apartment, a kommunalka, in a modest neighborhood. Childhood. Putin was the youngest of 3 brothers. His 2 older brothers died young, one during infancy, and the other during the siege of Leningrad in World War II. He grew up in post-war Soviet Leningrad, a city still recovering from immense wartime damage and famine. He was often described as quiet, reserved, and serious, but also had a rebellious and competitive streak, passion for sports and discipline from an early age. Putin was deeply interested in martial arts, especially judo and sambo, a Soviet martial art. He began training in judo at age 11, eventually earning a black belt and later becoming a regional champion. Sports helped him build focus, discipline, and personal toughness. Schooling. Not attended school, no. 193 in Leningrad, where he was an average student until the upper grades by high school. He began to show more interest in academics, particularly in German and history. He became fluent in German, which later helped in his KGB career. University education institution, Leningrad State University, now St. Petersburg State University. Graduated, 1975 degree, law. His final thesis focused on international law and trade. During university, he joined the Communist Party of the Soviet Union and began interacting with KGB recruiters. Entry into intelligence work. While at university, Putin was recruited by the KGB, the Soviet Union's main security agency. He attended the KGB school, No. 1, in Moscow after graduation, beginning his journey in Soviet intelligence. Would you like the next section, KGB career, a summarized SEO version of this segment? Vladimir Putin, KGB career, 1975 to 1991. Joining the KGB in 1975, immediately after graduating from Leningrad State University with a law degree, Vladimir Putin joined the KGB Committee for State Security. He was recruited during his university studies and sent for formal training at the KGB's 401st School in Leningrad, and later at the prestigious KGB Red Banner Institute in Moscow. Training and early assignments specialized in foreign intelligence, counterintelligence, and psychological operations. His early assignments involved monitoring foreigners and consular officials in Leningrad, worked under Department of Intelligence, focused on collecting political, economic, and technological intelligence. Dresden, East Germany, 1985 to 1990. In 1985, Putin was assigned to Dresden, East Germany. Under the guise of a translator and cultural attaché, he worked with the Stasi, East German secret police, coordinating intelligence sharing and surveillance. His tasks included recruiting informants, gathering political intelligence on NATO and West Germany, monitoring anti-Soviet groups and Western influence. Challenges and tensions. Putin's work in Dresden was considered low-level by Western standards, but he witnessed major political events. In 1989, as East Germany collapsed, protesters surrounded the KGB office in Dresden. Putin reportedly burned sensitive files to prevent them from falling into the wrong hands. He famously called the Soviet military base for reinforcements, only to be told they couldn't act without orders from Moscow, which never came. Return to the Soviet Union, 1990-1991. Returned to Leningrad in early 1990. Took a job at Leningrad State University, formally in charge of foreign affairs, but informally continuing his ties with the KGB. In August 1991, after the failed coup attempt against Mikhail Gorbachev, Putin resigned from the KGB, officially ending his career with the rank of lieutenant colonel. First presidential term 2002-004, became acting president, December 31, 1999, officially elected, March 26, 2000. Key events: took over after Boris Yeltsin resigned, promised to restore order after the chaos of the 1990s, cracked down on Chechen separatists during the Second Chechen War, re-centralized political power by curbing regional governors' autonomy, brought major media outlets under state influence, strengthened the role of the FSB, successor of the KGB. Second presidential term 2004-2008, re-elected, March 14, 2004. Won with over 70% of votes. Key events: oversaw rapid economic growth, fueled by rising oil and gas prices, implemented vertical of power reforms, tighter control over the judiciary, legislature, and media, crushed opposition voices and independent NGOs. Yuko's oil company dismantled. Its owner, Mikhail Khodorkovsky, jailed. Critics labeled his rule as increasingly authoritarian. Mother, Maria Ivanovna Shlamova, born 1911, died 1998. Background: worked in a factory, survived the siege of Leningrad during World War II under horrific conditions, deeply religious, which influenced Putin's later embrace of the Russian Orthodox Church. Siblings: Putin had two older brothers. Albert Putin died shortly after birth. Viktor Putin died as a child during the siege of Leningrad. Putin is the only surviving child of his parents. Marriage and ex-wife: Ludmila Alexandrovna Osheretnaya Skrebneva, married, 1983, divorced, 2013, announced publicly during a ballet performance profession, former flight attendant. Later worked as a university linguist. Described Putin as reserved and focused more on his career than family life. Kept a very low profile during and after their marriage. Maria Vorontsova, born 1985, reportedly the elder daughter, educated in biology and medicine. Studied at Moscow State University and St. Petersburg State University. Has worked in the endocrinology and genetic research field. Allegedly married to a Dutch businessman. Divorced. Katerina Tikhonova, born 1986. The younger daughter uses the surname Tikhonova to conceal her identity. Known to be an acrobatic, rock and roll dancer, and scientific researcher. Heads major scientific and technological initiatives in Russia, connected to major Russian business and academic institutions. Alleged relationships and children, unofficial. There have been unconfirmed reports of a relationship between Putin and Alina Kabave, former Olympic rhythmic gymnast and politician. Rumors suggest they have multiple children together. The Kremlin denies or ignores these claims. Swiss and European press have occasionally reported sightings of her, in private, with children believed to be Putin's family. Privacy: Putin keeps his personal life extremely private, more secretive than any Russian leader since Stalin. Russian media are prohibited or discouraged from covering his family. His daughters and alleged partners live under assumed names, with tight security and media blackout. Family privacy: Putin keeps his personal life extremely private, more secretive than any Russian leader since Stalin. Russian media are prohibited or discouraged from covering his family. His daughters and alleged partners live under assumed names, with tight security and